right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
The date, May 30th, 2024. Former President Donald Trump becomes the first former president to be convicted of a felony, found guilty on all 34 counts of falsifying records. Jurors delivered their decision today after 2 days of deliberations. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush.
And I'm Kelly Jackson. This was in connection with a hush money payment to an adult film actor, Stormy Daniels, near the end of the 2016 presidential campaign. I'll report tonight from NBC's Jay Gray.
Somber as he walks from the courtroom, former President Donald Trump lashes out at the decision.
This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. I'm a very innocent man.
The first man to sit in the Oval Office as president, then the defendant's chair in a felony criminal case, convicted on 34 counts of falsifying business records as part of a scheme to hide an alleged affair from voters.
While this defendant may be unlike any other in American history, we arrived at this trial and ultimately today at this verdict in the same manner as every other case that comes through the courtroom doors.
Mr. Trump and his attorneys promising an appeal, the presumptive Republican nominee in the race for the White House, saying the decision that matters most will come on Election Day.
The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people, and they know what happened here.
Emotions just outside the courthouse following the verdict, a snapshot of the political landscape across the country, deeply divided.
So none of it seems fair to me, and I think a lot of people will feel the way that I feel, that they'll see this as a two-tier justice system.
It was a grand jury indictment and now a jury conviction of his peers. And this is the legal system working.
The former president returning to his Manhattan apartment, waving to supporters, still defiant despite the historic decision. Jay Gray, NBC News, New York.
Let's bring in our political editor, Mark Maxwell, who has been talking to legal experts and prosecutors tonight. So what is the likelihood that the former president faces prison time?
That's a lot more likely today than it was yesterday, but here's what we know about that process. Sentencing is set for July 11, just 4 days before the GOP nominates a candidate for president at the Republican National Convention. Sentencing has to happen first before Trump's legal team can appeal. They've signaled they're already going to rush that appeal. Even if he's sentenced to prison, something they think is unlikely, they're very likely to angle for appeal bond, which means Trump could post that bond and wait for an appellate court to review all of this. That scenario could set the stage for Mr. Trump to accept the GOP nomination for president while facing a prison sentence hanging over his head.
Okay, so those are the legal ramifications. What about political ramifications?
Yeah, Republican delegates may feel some pressure to try and reconsider their choices, but even among those conversations, you start to see some valid concerns take shape. Take Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey. He tweets today, quote, "I'll use every legal tool available to ensure Missourians are not deprived of their right to vote for a presidential candidate." Well, that implies Trump's ballot access could be in jeopardy. Why? When the Supreme Court said states can't kick Trump off the ballot earlier, that was over interpretations of insurrection where there was no conviction at a lower court. This is over a felony conviction. The Supreme Court hasn't considered this question, not in this way, so it's possible Trump's ballot access challenges are just now beginning.
All right, so let's talk about the power of a presidential pardon. How far can it really go? And can a president pardon himself?
Yes and no. Here's what we know. Yes on federal crimes, no on state crimes, at least for now. We talked to our legal analyst, Andrews Walker. He says unless the Supreme Court takes up a drastic question to expand presidential pardon powers, you could see a presidential nominee, indeed even a president-elect, behind bars and with no legal recourse to pardon himself. That would rely on a prison sentence. Trump's team sees that's unlikely. And it would be upheld on appeal at the Supreme Court. They also think that's unlikely. Still, this historic, truly unprecedented story, not over yet.
Mark Maxwell, thank you very much. Again, Donald Trump will be sentenced on July 11th. We'll continue to follow this breaking story on air on KSTK.com and on the 5 on Your Side app.
We continue to learn more about two children murdered in Jefferson County, 9-year-old Scarlett and 2-year-old Isaac. Their mother now facing 2 first-degree murder charges in separate counties. Ashley Parmalee is now being held in the Jefferson County Jail without bond. 5 on Your Side's Laura Barcheski joins us in studio with how the community continues to come together for the grieving families.
Kelly, the community wants these kids to be remembered as the shining lights they were. To honor their memory, a local business is stepping in to help with fundraising efforts. Family friends describe 2-year-old Isaac and 9-year-old Scarlett as happy and loving kids taken too soon.
Love describes both of them deeply.
The community held a vigil for both Scarlett and Isaac's families just a day after they were killed.
I mean, the entire community, Jefferson County and beyond, I mean, they have so much support.
The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office shared this beautiful moment. Balloons were released at the Twin City Little League softball field where Scarlett put in the hours to be a pitcher.
Because that was one of the last places she practiced pitching.
She was also in gymnastics and cheer. Her coaches at Flipside and Festus say she had so much energy and a big heart.
Because she had beautiful tumbling and flying, she was beautiful in, and she smiled and she drew your attention there. So
these kids have inspired people even miles away in Park Hills to do good.
I was laying in bed scrolling through and just seeing how hard it has hit everybody.
Four Towns Brewing Company bartender Bobby Collier says as a mom, she is heartbroken.
I'm a mom of 2 little boys, and it hit my heart a little bit, and I was like, you know, we're a small town. We can do great things for this family.
Collier says they are selling $25 tickets to 2 different raffles. One is for their mug club that has special perks at the bar for 1 year, and the other is a chance to win a free night in their speakeasy event space.
And we're also going to host a cornhole tournament, and part of those funds also will go towards the family. For the raffle, 100% of the profit is going to go for the family.
She says she wishes she could wrap her arms around these families.
I would hug them. I would just tell them that it's hard, and I cannot even imagine what everyone's going through.
You can help the families by donating to their GoFundMe pages or buying raffle tickets through Four Towns Brewing Company online. The tickets will also be sold in several Festus businesses. We'll have more information on KSTK.com.
Frustrations are rising among water-weary tenants north of downtown St. Louis.
Some people at Webster School senior apartments say they are living without water. Others say the water pressure inside their units is so low they can barely bathe. Today they shared their concerns with Robert Townsend.
Kelly and Mike, the tenants say they've been battling the water woes for a long time. You bet they are up to their necks with dealing with this. Tenant after tenant.
I have no water. It's been going on for like 3 months.
Is frustrated at Webster School senior apartments near 11th Street and Compton Place, just north of downtown St. Louis.
I'm filling up mop buckets.
Some say for days, even weeks now, the water inside their units has dropped to barely a drip or completely dried up.
It's exhausting.
68-year-old Geraldine Duckett says ever since she moved into her apartment 3 years ago, her water pressure has been low. For the past 2 mornings,
I turned the faucet on and let it just drip pretty much on a towel that I can wash my face with.
She and her neighbors haven't been able to do their dishes, flush toilets, or take baths.
Do you care? Or you just care about us paying our rent?
49 seniors live here. Tenants say they've complained to George Robnett, the on-site property manager.
We're working on it, so I kind of just let it go.
When I stopped by his office, Robnett declined to talk on camera. He did say they're dealing with a water pressure problem at the building. A problem, he says, was the result of a water main break near Penrose and Blair nearly a month ago. But St. Louis City spokesman Rasmus Jorgensen says that break was fixed. Jorgensen also says we have verified that there is water pressure in the area, so the problem appears to be internal to the building.
The city didn't find out about this until today? I don't know when the city found out. I found out about it several weeks ago. I've reached out to the city today after being here.
I want water. I want these people to do.
Now, late this afternoon, the St. Louis Urban League donated 95 cases of bottled water to the seniors at that apartment building. The city spokesman also telling me tomorrow they're sending a plumbing inspector to the building to help identify the problem. Of course, I'll keep you posted.
Today marks 1 year since Gabe Gore was sworn in as the Circuit Attorney of St. Louis. Gore hit the ground running, saying the office was severely understaffed. When he started, there were only 2 unit supervisors running the office. There are now 10. There were 22 trial attorneys. Today they have 45. When Gore took over, there was a huge backlog of cases. He tells us starting with the most violent crimes was critical.
Getting some violent offenders who had been basically operating with impunity and probably were emboldened by that, getting those violent offenders off the street. I have no doubt that that work has saved lives.
Gore said they've also resolved 70 homicide cases. The idea now is to hire even more attorneys since they're still understaffed. The long-term goal is to invest in training, more technology, and increase salaries. Well, tonight, an opportunity for boys and teenagers in our area to get involved in a positive outlet to develop talent and teach life skills.
The Family of Vision is accepting new members from elementary to high school to join their nationally recognized STEP teams. Brent Solomon shows us the difference it's making in shaping young men.
They've built a name for themselves not only in St. Louis, but across the nation. Here they are last weekend in New York after placing in a national STEP competition. Leaders say the Family of Vision exposes boys from elementary, middle, and high school to things and places they've never seen.
Walking around Times Square, meeting new people, seeing the bright lights, tall buildings.
What'd you think of that?
It was amazing.
If you ask these young men, they'll tell you it's about more than stepping. Through the art, they learn discipline and so much more.
Brotherhood, learn how to be a man, learn how to not make excuses.
Organizers say that's why they do this.
A lot of the neighborhoods that these guys lived in, I was once a kid running up and down those streets. Knowing what they're going through at home and seeing that they're able to persevere through all those trials and tribulations and still become that young, successful man.
At Riverview Gardens High Thursday, current and prospective members gathering for an open house, learning how to get involved. They're looking for boys of all ages in the St. Louis area. You don't have to know how to step. You just have to be committed to being your best.
You discover what abilities that you didn't know you even have.
And when other young men are making the news for all the wrong reasons, the Family of Vision is stepping up to be the change.
It keeps us off the streets.
Brent Solomon, 5 on your side.
And the Family of Vision will hold a week-long STEP camp this summer to prepare new members for the upcoming season. To learn more and to apply, visit their website, which you can find on ksdk.com.
Impersonation scams on the rise.
Lies, so many lies. I tell them I'm on deployment. I have no access to Wi-Fi. I have no access to my phone.
A former scammer spills his secrets. Our I-Team tells us how you can protect yourself from being a target, bringing down the hammer and dominating while doing it. A local athlete is getting ready to represent St. Louis on the national stage.
Rain chances ramping up for part of the weekend, but the severe weather chances stay low. When you'll dodge the drops this weekend.